podcast will be starting soon. Stay tuned, yo.
I'm Veronica Taylor, and from myself and Ash Ketchum, I just want to say, Moana Nui, I choose you!
Okay, cool.
All right, so this is Justin Cook, and he'll be doing his interview. I'm going to let Mr. Allen start off.
Okay, we're limited to questions because we know we want to respect the time, so I'm going to try and do like a 1.5 question. So I love YuYu Hakusho, so I was going to ask, the first question I had is, what's your personal favorite arc from that show? And whatever happened to the girl who sang Smile Bomb? Because I think that was like her song. She was just, the opening song was her, and then no one knew anything after that happened with her. So I was curious if you knew, if you had some inside information.
I also love YuYu Hakusho in a super big way. And my favorite story arc from the overall, I mean, that's a tough one, right? Because like answering anything is like, there was a comedian once that was asked what his favorite episode of the TV show he worked on was, and his answer was, it's like asking somebody what their favorite breath is, right? The one that gets you to the next one, because each of the stories kind of lead into like what the overall is. But I do really enjoy the Chapter Black Saga. I thought that was a really great storyline. I love the villain and the amount of effort and work everybody has put into every single one of the seasons. But it was kind of neat to break out Sensui's 7 personalities.
Yeah.
Thought that was a lot of fun and a fun little exercise with an actor. So that probably is. And then let's see here. Oh, Smile Bomb. Yeah, so the songs were actually put together by the producer at the time. And so I actually never met her. But it's such a great performance, and I'd love to hear anything she did again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Next question.
I was going to say, what is your favorite Yusuke one-liner?
Ooh, that's tough, because Yusuke is such a jerk, right? And so the hang up there. But I got a funny story. My wife and I were looking for YuYu Hakusho type T-shirts that had quotes on them. We thought that'd be kind of fun. So she found one that said, "You shouldn't talk, it makes you look stupid." So I'm wearing that, and it turns out that folks at TSA do not find humor in that at all. So yeah, I think that'll be the first and last time I ever wear a quote from Yusuke. But no, I don't know, man. I don't think I've got. The thing of it is, I love the character, right, and all of the lines that he said. So whether he was telling Kuwabara, it depends on what finger he uses, or saying something awful to Genkai, he just has a way about it.
Mr. Mason?
So you've had the unique position to be part of a lot of great franchises: Mass Effect, Dragon Ball, YuYu Hakusho. Are there any franchises that you're a fan of, as well as being a voice actor of?
I mean, I'm a fan of all of this stuff. I think it's incredible to be a part of it. And I count my blessings every single day, just that I'm lucky enough to just, be living that life. So as long as I can keep assisting folks and telling stories, man, I think I'm good.
Mr. Q, did you have a question?
What is your big 3 for anime?
My big 3 for anime? Yes. Oh, all right, fair enough. Let's see, and I'll try to stay outside of things that I've worked on myself, but Bebop is absolutely my number 1. I can go back and watch that thing anytime. It doesn't make a difference. I love that thing. Hellsing Ultimate is definitely another one of those. It's just a great show for me, and we'll go with Black Lagoon as number 3. I guess you could call me a bit of an otaku.
Mr. Muhammad, did you have a question?
Thought I'd get enough laugh out of that.
Okay. Miss Georgia.
Sorry, delayed laugh. Yeah.
No, he said it.
One more question. Who's doing it?
So if you could offer any advice to any aspiring voice actors, especially since your career has gone for so long and you've done so much, what advice would you give them?
Oh, let's see. Any advice for aspiring actors? You know what? Don't give up. That's the beauty of this job. It can be, and it can also be the super negative, which is you get rejection a lot. The main part of this job is auditioning. It's not actually doing the work, and so that can be rough. And so whatever it's worth, there's somebody out there who's looking for your voice. Know that. Trust in that, and keep putting your voice out there.
Wonderful. Now what we're
are a doctor after all. Always nice to see you, Watson.
What was the first question?
Oh, sure. So I know you work on Pulp Fiction, so I was wondering.
No, I didn't. That's an internet myth. I didn't work on Pulp Fiction. Don't believe everything you read on the internet, especially things that happened before you were born.
Oh, thank you.
No, I'm kidding. Yes.
So I was gonna ask, like, what was the energy like working with people like John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson?
Well, it's interesting because I'd say to this day, Pulp Fiction is one of the best sets I've been on in my entire career. And I credit that to the quality of the script. I mean, the fact that he was able to make a movie with John Travolta, Bruce Willis, Uma Thurman, Sam Jackson for under $8 million was because everybody read that dang script and was like, I need to be in this movie. I want to be a part of this. And everybody from the cast to the crew was there because they wanted to be there, not just for the paycheck, to be a part of this. And, you know, I mean, usually I came in the last month of the shoot. Usually by that point, you know, everybody's either broken up or, you know, already looking for their next job. But on Pulp Fiction, every Friday night, it's like, pass around a flyer. This is where we're going for drinks. And everybody went, even John Travolta.
Nice. Awesome. Did you have a question?
So you was a writer for Mad TV. Do you have any scripts that you felt like was going too far?
I was not technically a writer on Mad TV because they refused to give the cast writing credits.
Wow.
It wasn't until my final season when I said, you got this character, the UPS guy that everybody loves, I ain't doing a sketch unless you let me write it. And that was the only way I was able to get a writing credit on Mad TV.
So you just wrote for that character?
Well, no, the thing was, in sketch comedy, anybody who's worked on SNL or any sketch show will tell you, the actors always write.
Yep.
Because especially on Mad TV, I mean, a lot of the conceptual stuff came from the writers, but the character stuff came from the actors. You know, because we mostly created those characters. I'd say the one exception was the Funky Walker Dirty Talker character. One of the writers, Gary Campbell, came up with that sketch in, I think, the second season. And I was like, well, black dude dancing around? No, I ain't doing that. But then over the summer, I thought, actually, that's kind of funny. He's funky and he's grooving. And then I came back to Gary, it's like, hey, can we do that sketch? He didn't even remember it. Like, which one? But, and then Mary Shear was pregnant and she had been doing this, you know, character she was doing, you know, the lady with all the plastic surgery. And that was our gimmick for guest stars, interviewing guest stars. But when Mary went away, we need another sketch where we can have guest stars. Like, how about this Funky Walker Dirty Talker? Like, okay, sure. All right, now you're doing a sketch with Halle Berry, Jennifer Love Hewitt. You know, I'm like, yes. Actually, that's where I first met Gilbert Gottfried. Rest in peace.
As far as your voice acting with all the DC characters, are you going to be acting live action in a superhero meeting?
You're asking me if I'm going to be acting in the DC superhero universe live action? Why are you asking an actor what jobs the actor's going to get? I don't go into DC and go boom, boom, boom. Let me play this. That's not how it works. Ask Michael B. Jordan.
Okay. No, you and then him.
Okay. In your opinion, which is your most iconic character?
I'm sorry, say that again louder?
In your opinion, which is your most iconic character?
Most iconic character you've always seen?
Well, that's actually an unanswerable question. Because as a performer, I don't decide what is iconic. That is the audience's job over time. You know, because, I mean, I think about this all the time. There were stars in the 30s and 40s who were the hugest stars who we have no idea. And the same thing happens with work, especially in voiceover. There's stuff people watched when they were kids that they still hold on to 20 years later. There's other stuff that went down the toilet with that cereal.
Go ahead.
So, given the fact that you have over 200 credits, acting credits, what would you say has been your most challenging role for you personally? What's an accomplishment that you you nailed something completely different?
Well, the most challenging roles are the bad ones, because it's always easier to work with a great script and amazingly creative people like Genndy Tartakovsky, Dave Filoni, Bruce Timm, Dwayne McDuffie. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to work with some of the most amazingly talented writers and creators, Greg Weisman on Young Justice, So all of that work, which is usually the work that people respond to and hold on to for generations, those were all easy, but crappy one episode of Pound Puppies that nobody even remembers I was in.
I remember the show. I don't remember much else about it.
No, Pound Puppies was actually a cute
It was
show.
a cute show.
But I don't remember the bad ones.
Okay.
Because you can't let that sit in your head. That drags you down. Better to just live in the power and light of the great ones.
Ooh.
And hope they bring me back.
Go ahead.
A few years ago, we got the conclusion to Samurai Jack. What was the experience like from the time that the last season aired to the final season? Did you ever think that it would come back? And how was the experience of working on the final season?
Well, the bringing back of Samurai Jack was wonderful on a number of levels. One, because Genndy wrapped up that series in the most incredible way. I mean, it was 14 years from when we finished the first run to the final wrap-up season. And he'd always wanted to complete the story. And he'd been talking about it since, the original run, which makes sense because when you put it in the dang theme song, gotta get back to the past, then you gotta do it. I mean, it's like friends, I'll be there for you. They can't not be there for each other. It says it in the song. But the fact that he took those 14 years, I mean, I look at that season 5 of Samurai Jack as like, this is what the show would have evolved into had we kept going for the 14 seasons. Because now Jack was in a whole different place, it was dark, he'd lost his sword, it's like, I mean, and who has the talent to do that? I mean, we've seen a lot of franchises where they're like, oh, let's go to this, let's go to that. I've never seen anybody do it that well. So, and it also, as an actor, made me push my game up to another level. It's like, oh, dang, I got more lines in this one season than I had in all 4 previous ones. And it's like heavily emotional, and I remember, I'd worked with Tara Strong for 10, 15, 20 years, and she blew me away. It's like, I ain't never seen you do something that amazing. So it was a gift,
Go ahead.
We'll go you and then you understand that.
Another second round.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know you voiced for Futurama, and I was gonna ask you if there's Futurama, Simpsons, Family Guy, that type of humor, what's your favorite type of show out of those?
Well, actually, that's interesting. I mean, I don't think anybody would say that the humor in Family Guy is similar to the humor in Futurama or The Simpsons. Yeah. I mean, they're on the same channel, but those are not the same shows. Yeah. Actually, Futurama and The Simpsons aren't even the same kind of comedy. But the one thing they all have in common is incredibly talented writers. And the fact that, Futurama and Family Guy both came back from the dead. I don't know. Although maybe Futurama, Family Guy, Samurai Jack shows coming back from, being canceled, and what do they all have in common? Me.
So, you've been in the game for so long, and you've done so much, and you've seen the industry transform in many different ways. What advice could you offer aspiring voice actors, aspiring actors in both live action and animation, trying to break into the industry, how to hone their craft, and how to really get to eventually become someone on your caliber?
Well, it's interesting because you get asked a lot, what advice would you give to aspiring voice actors? I'm like, I'm old. The world I started voice acting in is completely different from the world now. So my advice would be relatively useless. Unless I could say, okay, step one, get a time machine, go back 25 years, and then do this. Start out on a sketch comedy show, and do a lot of characters, then figure out, oh, wait, if I did this without wigs and makeup, I could just change the voices. That'd be a lot easier. And then start your voiceover career like that. But again, not really applicable. Although, the real advice that I would give to people is understand that voice acting is a misnomer because the acting comes before the voice. It is more important to be able to bring this imaginary character to life for an audience. Then you make funny voices. Once you can, embody a character, then what you do with the voice, that comes secondary.
Thank you.
Okay, we have time for one more question, and that was going to be you.
So since you voiced so many characters, and you are basically representation of all of these characters you voice, how does it make you feel knowing that generations of people of color look up to you and the characters you play in the roles? How does that make you feel that people look up to you?
Well, it's interesting because I started out doing voices before representation was on anybody's mind. I mean, back in the 90s, if it was a leading character of color, then they would make sure to cast a person of color. It's like, well, because we're going to have them do press. But secondary characters, nobody cared about it. Like if it's, character got 3 lines, who's a black guy, it's like, we ain't gonna write an extra paycheck for that. Which is why, when I was starting out as an actor of color, you couldn't survive if you could only voice one kind of character. Because there weren't enough roles that were specifically going to be cast by actors of color. Nowadays, this whole idea about, authenticity, the authenticity of the casting is far less important than the authenticity of the story. Whose perspective is being put out there? That's what's important about representation. That's why Static Shock was so, important at the time. Not just the color of his skin, but the story they were telling. The fact that this was the world of Dakota that it was set in reflected the real world that we as people of color lived in. And even though it was imaginary and it was superheroes, there were issues that we reflected. It's like, oh yes, I recognize that, which I think was the similar impact of Spider-Man in the 60s. Because before that, superheroes were fantasy. Nobody really relates to Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I remember when I was being chased by orcs. No. But when you have stories like Spider-Man or Static Shock, where they're dealing with emotions, situations that we as real people in the world deal with, but it's also fantasy and powers, and superhero, that is very, very special. And for so many generations, people of color did not, get stories like that. I mean, if there was somebody of color in some thing, it was rarely fantasy. It was way too real. It was the defiant ones. Sidney Poitier is tied, handcuffed to another dude. But the fact that that the worlds of fantasy and video games, and all of that stuff are now becoming more diverse with more diverse perspectives. That is the stuff that's powerful. That's what's important.
All right, and that wraps.
Who is this? I don't know. He's glorious. I mean, he's just like you, but way better. Way better. Thank you. No, it's not a compliment. I wouldn't touch him if I were you, buddy. You don't think I should touch him. You don't mind this, do you? Because I'm your buddy, too. I think he's gonna hit you. He punches so hard, but yet his hands are so soft. Be strong. Okay, bye.
Else?
42. No, I got it.
Yeah, you did this time.
Okay, this
Good
time.
job.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have one that I do because Mr. Mason isn't asking it anymore for some reason. That's Mr. Mason back there.
Hey, Mr. Mason, you're not asking the question.
Mr. Mason likes me to ask if what advice you have for people who are getting into the voice acting game, and what's the best options to go forward with that?
The best thing is acting. Study, do acting, go to theater, learn your improv, learn your music, learn your singing is really good. Singing and improv, learn your classical theater. I know you don't have to do this, by the way. There are people who never did any and they are complete successes and they're amazing. But in terms of knowledge and staying in the business, it really helps to know how to work with language, learn your dialects. It's how to build a character and how to know the tone of the piece and how your character functions in this particular piece. That's a lot of training. Then you can do microphone and voice techniques, because not everybody has to be utility. You could have just one voice and be the most amazing voice actor. I mean, it doesn't matter, but some people it helps to have a range and do different voices. And one day you're talking like this, and you're talking like that, and it's like that's okay. But I would say acting first, and then record yourself. Hear how your voice prints on tape. Or tape, huh? Yeah. Back in my day, we recorded on penny whistles. No, we gave the Kaiser what for. So we should. I would just definitely hear how you sound. Hear your own voice. Read out loud. Record yourself reading, and just get used to it. That would be a starter. And then take classes if you can. Check out D. Bradley Baker's website. It's amazing. There's a lot of great resources out there to check out. Definitely.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Ms. Inland. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and this interview is with Mr. Fred Tatasciore. And who would like to go first? Mr. Allen? Oh, you want to go first? Go ahead, sir.
I just wanted to say I love Hitmonkey, and I was just wondering what your process was like figuring out the voice of the character.
Oh, thank you. The Hitmonkey was such a great experience for me for a couple of reasons. One, they were really trying to do a very specific, the audition was sort of rigorous because they had us do a certain kind of monkey that existed there, but they also had to see if we could convey as much information with the most realistic monkey sounds. So it was less of like the cartoony, it had to do a lot. And I had to listen to a lot of monkey sounds to try to get that particular thing going. We had callbacks. It was like it was really an interesting process. Then doing it was we just went and did every possible perambulation, any kind of thing we could do to fill. I would see the storyboards. I'd read the script. I'd see the storyboards. And really, I would be following the animatic, which is just an animated storyboard, and we would try to fill in as much as we could, give it as much emotive thing. And as you know, or may not know, Hitmonkey, it's a very sad story for him. And so I was playing it as serious as I could because that's what they wanted, right? I didn't get to play with Jason Sudeikis. I didn't know how funny this was going to be. I really didn't. I mean, I knew the scene, I knew the story, but I didn't really get all the ad-libs. I didn't get all the stuff. I knew the premise, obviously, but I didn't know. just how funny and how far it was going to go, because I'm playing the seriousness of it all. So I didn't appreciate it all until I saw it. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hilarious, you know? So that was a big part of the process. But it was for me, it was trying to get some emotions that a monkey could have, realistically. And yes, there's humor and stuff, but I had to try to play it as somber, as realistically as possible. Which was an interesting thing, without being too cartoony.
As a zoologist, I just want to tell you, I really appreciated that.
Hey!
Very annoyed when that people make chimpanzee noises for monkeys.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. That means a lot. It means a lot to me. Thank you, Julie.
No, you can't have it anymore.
Hey, my name is Alan.
Hey, Alan.
So, I know you play people like Hulk and Beast. I was wondering, like, since these are kind of like very stoic but aggressive characters.
Yes.
How much would that reflect your personality? You know?
That's a good question. I mean, as an actor, you're always bringing yourself in at some part of it. There's always a truth in it that you're bringing that is maybe a part of you. I was just joking about how, like, I'm the opposite of so many characters that I play, because it's usually, I will now destroy you. You know, like, it's all these, like, horror, and I'm like, I'm really just a squishy duck, you know, in reality. Hulk was near and dear to my heart, because, and someone described it as, that what I was playing, which I really felt good about, was quiet strength. Yes, he's loud, he's big, but what a lot of people don't understand about Hulk is he wants to be left alone. He's not just angry, I'm gonna get, you know, it's not about that. He just gets getting thrown in these situations where he's being used, abused, and doesn't take it slightly, you know, so for me, yeah, I call on that part of me. I liked, my favorite parts of Hulk are when he's somber and he's thinking about stuff. I don't need this anymore. I am a monster, I know. You know, like, I love that part, you know, and that connects to me.
Yeah.
And the rest is just the way Hulk's had many different, in the comics, there's sometimes he's bad, sometimes most of the time he's always a superhero, which he is. We played it always superhero. We had to have him be a good guy. So he's truly protecting the innocent. And, you know, and if he sees anyone in trouble, then he just goes for it. You know, even though in the beginning he's savage, but he's still Banner at the end of the day. You know, he's a good guy. And so I felt I connected. So yeah, a lot of those things I do, I can connect on the darker level of that.
The side note, I asked people, like, if I was in Avengers, who I would be, and everyone said Hulk. So to me,
you understand,
as a voice of the Hulk, is super cool.
Oh, it's nice to meet you.
I had like a Marvel shirt with Hulk on it yesterday.
Yeah.
I should have worn it yet.
That's all right, man. You got tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I better see you with it. No, it's kidding. No, but that's cool. Yeah, Banner is great, and remember, it's Banner Hulk, so it's a really interesting. That's the whole study. Yep. I know. I always joked about it because, like, I play Hulk, Beast, and Thing, and it's like Beast is kind of who I'd want to be. You know, like, so classy and so, you know what I mean. But like at the end of the day, like, no, I think I'm really Hulk. You know, like, but yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you, and thanks for your kind words.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Hi, my name is Titus, and
Hi.
just like my friend Alan, what got you in the role for doing the Hulk, and also did you do Crash Bandicoot as well too?
No, I didn't. Well, for Hulk, I got into, like anything, I auditioned. I've been a fan for Hulk for years, you know, since I was a kid. And so it's been pretty much a straight audition. Actually, I was auditioning for Thor, of all things, you know, and they heard me, and the guy brought out this thing and said, you should be reading for this. I was like, yeah, oh, wow, Hulk, yeah, he did, you know, and so that's kind of where, I think I had done a video game once before. You know, and then I auditioned for that, and then that turned into the Hulk versus series, and then that got into Mightiest Heroes, and then the Avengers, you know, Hulk and the Agents of Smash and all that stuff. So I've been very fortunate to be able to stay in those green feet for a long time. You know, I mean, there are Hulks before me, there'll be Hulks after me. It's just one of those iconic characters, but I've been really, really happy to be able to have done that. Yeah.
Next question, Ms. Deidre.
I don't even know where.
No, you can do whatever you want. You want me to come over there?
Okay. So you voiced like a plethora of characters in regular show. It's a very adult. It's
it's got a lot of adult humor, but it's a kid's show still. But I just wanted to know, what was a reading that you probably have in the script that really made you say, what the fuck?
Oh, there's so many. Oh, wait, beep. By the way, you look amazing. Wow. Well, I loved playing the president and like the Russian leaders who were just completely clueless of everything. I mean, absolutely clueless. I would say the majority of, I think I played Father Time. That was really weird. You know, like there's a lot of weird stuff we did, and I loved it. I loved how that show was. I love that they call it the regular show, but it was probably one of my favorite experiences. We just did everything so strangely, you know. And I played the ghost father. You know, like it was just, there was just, yeah. So I would say there was a lot of WTFs almost every time. Truly.
That's pretty on brand, though.
It was great, and I loved that they played it so like we were all crazy as the guests, but they kind of had a straight read what they were doing in life. You know what I mean? Like the two of them, you know, in the regular show. I love that their responses were kind of normal. You know what I mean? But like everything else was just completely upside down. Yeah. So that was there's a few. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi.
Oh wait, can I let Mr. Muhammad hasn't done one yet, and then you be next.
Hi. Hey, Mohamed.
If you could roll back the clock and contact your younger self, what was the advice for you? Give yourself and why?
Okay, hold on. He's using a flip phone. Hold on. Hello? Hey, Fred, it's me. Oh, hey, man, what's up? Oh, yeah, hey, I just want you to study as much as you can. Oh, I'm doing that. Okay, and, yeah, you know, do a little more improv, go into, like, UCB programs, and, I know you were doing a lot more of that. Keep doing your live show. Oh, okay, I'll do that, but it's been really hard because I'm really busy. It doesn't matter, man, just keep going. And try to save as much as your artwork and keep going with your animation. Oh, okay, man, see you later. Yeah, okay. Hello? We hung up. Anyway, that's sort of what I do. Yeah, sure.
Awesome. You, sir.
Would you be interested in returning to voice Monkey in a second season of the show or in the MCU?
When? I would totally. Are you kidding? I would love that.
That's what I like to hear.
Oh my God! Yes. Y-E-S. Yes. Awesome. I mean. That's my answer.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
We have time for two more questions. Two more questions. You want
32. I don't know. I was going to answer before.
It's 42.
42. Damn, I never forgot.
You're close.
I'll help you with your math.
Thank you. I'm not good at the math. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So shapes. I do shapes. Okay.
Since you did both Family Guy and American Dad.
Yes.
So what if you had to choose, what show do you think is funnier?
Oh, don't do that.
Or
no.
What do you like out of both?
Okay, I'll tell you actually why. That's actually a great question.
Thank you.
No, I can't say which is funnier because here's why. They're two interestingly different types of approach to humor, written by or started by the same group of people. I would say Family Guy is by far the funniest in terms of rapid fire humor, because within one job, like I'll play like utility player, so I'm Bono Mark Twain in a toilet and a cop, in a show. So it's like setup joke, literary joke, gross joke, insensitive joke, funny joke, deep joke, and it's all like playing drums. It's like the humor is like airplane. It's just like one thing after another, and you're just like, it doesn't matter where it results. It's got heart, but it's so funny on a level. American Dad just is more of the concepts are funny. Just in the main character, Stan is just like, New Mexico, like we need help, like we need a new one of those, Like my mother from New Mexico loved that. But it's just like that was their political spin. It's great. So it's less set up, punch. It's like, oh wow, that's a great concept. So conceptually, that's a great show too. So hard, apples and oranges kind of thing,
Yeah.
But I get your.
Yeah, I was trying to see.
No, I was kidding with you. But it is. I'd say Family Guy got the setup punch.
Yeah.
You'll get more laughs.
Yeah.
But then you get deep laughs out of American Dad.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, last question.
You need major life realignment. Okay. Starting with baby Super Freak here. That is freaky.
Yes, you are a tiny god.
Okay, perfect. All right, we're getting ready to start with our next guest. Have you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Geoff Ramsey, and I'm from Rooster Teeth Productions.
All right, perfect. Okay. Please let me know when you have a question. And of course, when the other outlets get here, I'll keep it as a round robin.
Okay.
And then we'll be doing Q&A for about 15 minutes, and then if you are open to taking pictures with the press, we'll do that for a few minutes, and then have you on your way because we want to be respectful of your time.
Absolutely.
All right. I'll kick off with a question. With you dealing with Rooster Tooth, and especially for me, I became aware of your outlet with Ruby, and it just took off like crazy. How was the whole coming up with the concept to have Ruby as part of your platform and many of the other shows you have to kind of have you stand out as this new entity for entertainment?
Well, Ruby was the creative vision of an exceptionally talented man who's unfortunately no longer with us, named Monty, who we were all fans of. He did a really popular piece of animation called Dead Fantasy, amidst some other Halo stuff. And we had been making Red vs. Blue for about 5 years, and we wanted to expand, but we were very limited in our capabilities. We wanted to move more into traditional animation. So we started to talk to Monty, and eventually we convinced him to work for us. And he began by kind of taking our cartoon Red vs. Blue to the next level, but in tandem, he was just this creative powerhouse, and he wanted to make his own anime, which I thought was a fantastic idea because we had been coming to conventions all across the world for years and years and years with our cartoon Red vs. Blue, and it was very apparent that anime was very, very popular. And I didn't see why we couldn't make one here in America, and so Monty did.
Awesome. Well, we're very grateful for that.
Absolutely.
Any of those that are watching haven't checked out Ruby, definitely check it out. You got a couple seasons to catch up on.
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely some very quality work. But one of the things that also I noticed with Rooster Tooth is you didn't stick to a particular look or feel. Like Ruby had a different look and feel for the animation for it versus some of the other shows you had. You didn't stick to a particular format. Was that intentional, or did you kind of have this particular vision to have that differences for no matter who is tuning in?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different. Productions that we've done have had different creative leads, and so they bring kind of their own flavor to the production, and then also just wanting to create a unique identity for each property, so that it looks and feels like it and nothing else. So, yeah.
Nice. And I know that I'm not sure how long it's been going. That you have your own convention for Rooster Tooth, and that fans get to come and all. Was that part of the vision as you were developing it, or was it just something that ended up happening because of demand from the fans?
It was one of those things where, we started in 2003, and we did our first convention in 2003, and then we went from that one convention to doing probably 20 to 25 a year for the first 6 or 7 years, and very, very slowly over the course of that 6 or 7 years, the light bulb went off very dimly, but eventually, and we had the idea we could just do this ourselves and not have to leave town. And so we started the first RTX, let's say in 2012 maybe. It was so long ago. And then we've done it every year since in the Austin Convention Center. July 1st to 3rd this year.
Okay. All right, so anybody that is watching your press outlets, please definitely check that out. Tickets are still available?
Yeah, tickets are available right now at rtxevent.com.
All right, awesome. And do
Yeah, I do. Hi, Mohammed from the Impact Play.
Hey, Mohammed.
What is your most memorable moment from your early days at Rooster Teeth or even Red vs. Blue?
Oh gosh, well, I'm old enough now, I've been doing this for, it'll be 20 years next year, that I have built up a fair amount of nostalgia, and so it's kind of hard to pick one. But I was, for some random reason, I was thinking earlier today about, I think around 2004, 2005, we got invited to San Jose, California, and we aired a season of Red vs. Blue on like a giant wraparound IMAX. And that sticks out as like a pretty surreal moment in the past, to see our dumb cartoon projected, 40, 50 feet in the air in partial, like in 270 degrees. And it looked pretty good. I was surprised.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
And I know a lot of people in the audience, especially that team here, with the voice actors and different talent that we have here. I know we constantly hear of like how someone can be a voice actor with the different platforms. So for anyone that's watching, if they're interested in being a voice actor or presenting one of their animation projects that they want your company to consider, what would be the best advice you can give them on doing that?
It's kind of hard because for a company our size, we can't really take unsolicited requests because it just gets to be complicated legally, But one thing I love is when we do conventions like MomoCon, I love it when people come up and show us their stuff. And that's how we met a lot of the people that work at Rooster Teeth, honestly. We've hired from our first music producer all the way up to Monty, at almost every step of the way, we've hired from the community. And a lot of the ways we do that, one of the guys who writes Ruby, his name is Kerry Shawcross, he met us at PAX, introduced himself, and told us he was going to be our intern. He lived in San Antonio, we live in Austin. And then one day he just showed up to be our intern, and now he writes Ruby, right?
Wow.
So come out and meet us in person. I had a kid yesterday who's about 14 who brought his iPad and showed me his first ever animation, and it was fabulous.
Yes.
And that's a wonderful way to get to know us.
Okay, awesome. So any of your creators that are out there, definitely keep that in mind as far as getting yourself being seen and your vision probably being brought to the forefront. For those voice actors that are out there, for your upcoming projects, is there a way that they can to audition for potential roles?
That's a great question. I unfortunately am probably not the best person in the company to answer. I don't handle that side of the business. I know that when we're doing a new production at Rooster Teeth, we send out an internal call, and then so we try to find people within the company, within our talent pool, and then if we don't, I know that there's a mechanism to go external, but I'm not sure what that is.
Okay.
But I do know that we have a jobs page on roosterteeth.com, and if you want to work with Rooster Teeth in any way, it's probably the best way to get there.
Okay. All right. So, also, like as your brand has been growing, do you all have any visions of like becoming the next version of Disney, like having one entity here, another different entity of Rooster Teeth here? This one's going to focus on kids. This is going to be gaming and live action.
Well, we've done our best to diversify in ways that make sense. We've taken some swings that didn't work. We've had a lot of success in other areas, and it's just funny you say Disney because that is a brand that we look to as we're 19 and a half years old now, and the founders are starting to get. Well, some of us have retired, and the rest of us are getting older by the day. We're just dwindling in front of the world. So we're trying to set Rooster Teeth up to be a multi-generational company, and Disney is a hell of a company to emulate.
Well, they've had a couple hundred years.
Yeah, pretty good run.
Exactly, to get it to what it is now. But I definitely see that, like I mentioned, for any of you who are watching these, definitely check out Ruby. That is one that caught my attention, and then of course I know from other congoers that told me about other shows that is on Rooster Teeth. and all. And for those that are not familiar with Rooster Teeth, where can they tune in to be able to watch your products?
You can go to roosterteeth.com, or you can go to YouTube and search for Rooster Teeth, or Achievement Hunter, or Funhouse, or any of our different brands, or Let's Play, any of our gaming properties. But yeah, roosterteeth.com is a great place to start.
Awesome. And of course, with Ruby and that end up picking up such fandom that you end up, now have the ability to get it on DVD and be able to watch some of the past episodes. Is there any other series that we can look forward to on Rooster Teeth that we can find on DVD for those that like to have the physical copy?
Yeah, it's tough, man. DVDs, they don't sell like they used to. We do have some new series coming out, things to check out, some new Rudy stuff coming out. Whether it's on DVD or not, I'm not sure. But
digital download?
Definitely digital download.
Okay, awesome. So of course, like I said, I can't express how much definitely check out Ruby. That is one of my favorites. And I also have a question of, as y'all were doing Ruby through the season, you can, for those that have been watching it for a while, you kind of saw how the animation transitioned as the series progressed. Was that a planned decision to kind of change to make that look a more sleeker and move differently versus the first couple seasons, or was that something that was okay? We can make this better.
I think it's I would hate to speak for the animation team, but I will say I think it's a product of or a function of having more resources and more time, hopefully, and just honing in and getting better at what we do.
Okay, well, definitely everyone go to any of the outlets that you mentioned to check out their miniseries. You will definitely find something that is for you through their brand, because they are definitely, I kind of call your brand the indie Disney. Like you are,
there you go.
You're bringing the forefront on changing the look and feel, but also having that unique storytelling that pull people in. And with you keeping that formula, is that part of how you decide what stuff comes to air as you get new series?
We've always just kind of tried to make content that we would want to watch, and kind of trust in that sensibility, and it seems to be going okay so far.
Nice, very nice. And as you mentioned, you have some new series. Are there any you can talk about that we can be looking forward to?
There are. Unfortunately, I have. There's a couple things we're going to be announcing at RTX in July, and so I can't announce it here. But stay tuned. Yeah, we'll have some new stuff to announce.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that announcement and seeing what else I can add to my watch list. Any other questions from the audience? Well, once again, we'd like to thank you so much for being part of MomoCon and definitely taking a moment out of your time to let the audience that could not be here learn a little bit more about you and Rooster Teeth.
Absolutely.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand,
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. Network out for all the locals, school will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place, multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe. As a part of their ongoing war with Asia, used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation, colonizers call for annexation. Network out for all the locals, school will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. We will.